Well, welcome to lesson 6. Now, what are you going to do? You got your instruction book. We'll start that again. Okay. Now, you've got your camera. You've got your instruction book. Now, what are we going to do? Get rid of that. Nobody reads the instruction book before they go out and take some pictures. The first thing you do is stick it on automatic. It's like having a Ferrari. If you buy yourself a Ferrari, what are you going to do? Look at the manual, or start it up and drive it down the road? You drive it down the road. Well, we're going to do the same thing with the camera, and I'll show you what people do. First thing they do, they switch it on, and there they switch it on. Yeah, there it is, there's the on. So they switch it on, and they rush around taking pictures. Now, firstly, I'd like to show you a guy who's helping me. It's Mike Floyd. He's an ex-press photographer from Fleet Street, so he knows a lot. He lives near me. In fact, we live I would say, in an area where there's an awful lot of geriatric photographers, mainly because it's got super landscapes, but no hills, so I don't have to climb up them. Anyway, I'll show you what you do. You put your camera on automatic, and you get up and you start taking pictures. And what happens is you run around. A, that wore me out, and B, I took 500 pictures. The camera will only last 100,000 images. I've just used 0.050 life of my camera in 10 minutes. Not only that, I've got to get onto my computer, load them all onto my computer. If I do that from the camera, not ideal either. I'm better off taking the card out and put it in a card reader. Don't want to stress the camera doing that. Anyway, I suppose the next step is to go over to the computer and have a look. But I'm going to have 500 pictures shot in Jpeg and Raw. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Just set your camera to Jpeg and Raw. Raw is a better quality, much easier to retouch, much more possibilities. Why? You never know if you're going to get that picture. So right from the beginning, Raw and Jpeg, even if you can't process the Raw to start with, you might be in 10 minutes time, in 10 years time, or 5 years time, or next month. Very, very good advice, that. It takes up room on the computer as well. 500 pictures, I don't need it. We're much better going close to the subject, taking our time, making sure the light's right, composing the image, and just take one picture. But one picture that's good is better than 500 that are bad. Anyway, let's go inside and we'll work on the computer. Well, now that was a bit of fun, but now we're into the serious stuff. Let's have a look at what I said. If I go out and take 500 photographs, what I'm going to do is use up 0.5% of my camera. Cameras normally are expected to last 100,000. Actuations, now I say shoot Jpeg and Raw, that is only one activation, but let's say 100,000 photographs. I've just taken, for example, 500. I didn't, but I mean, I told you I did. If I'd have taken 500, I could go out for 200 days, do the same thing, and I'd probably have a camera that's broken down. Now, when I say 100,000, it could be 150,000. You could even be extremely lucky in 200,000. But it could go the other way. It could be 90,000. So think about it when you're firing away. A lot of people say it's more expensive than using film. It really could be, particularly if you're going to do 500. Now, I also talked about Jpeg and Raw. Now, I've got a film on Jpeg and Raw, and I'll put it up on the screen now, and you should be able to click on it. But I'll run through roughly what it is. Jpeg and Raw. Jpeg is like a cooked version of a photograph. What I mean by that is that the manufacturer has decided how that picture should be processed. It's like it's gone through the darkroom already. So they've sharpened it, they've balanced the colour a bit, and what they've done is thrown away a lot of the information. And that's a great shame, because maybe you want to cook it yourself. So with a raw image, you can do a lot more. You can recover the whites if you're working in a retouching program like Photoshop. You can recover the whites, you can deepen the blacks, you can do anything you want. Play with it and the colour balance, everything, because it's a complete file that's not had half of it thrown away. In fact, it's probably more than half of it that's thrown away. We'll have a look at the difference in size of a JPEG and a RAW. Well, here they are. These are the two versions. Now on the left we have the JPEG. Now the JPEG is the ready cooked by the scientifics that make the camera. They've decided that they're going to throw away quite a lot, and there's 5.2 megabyte left of that image. Now if we go to the CR2 version, you'll see there are almost 22 megabytes left. An example, we can just see in fact that this one is slightly darker, which means that the JPEG version, they've already thrown enough away to be able to see a difference, which does surprise me, but you'll see on the film what I mean. Now here's the JPEG version. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? We'll go in and we'll try and compare the other one. Well, here we can see straight away that the RAW version isn't as sharp, not in focus as much. Now why is that? That's because the camera has decided the JPEG will be sharp and the RAW hasn't done anything. It's left all that information. But of course I can make it sharp as much as I like, and that's what the wonderful thing is. You see what happens here? If I want to make it sharp, I can make it sharper, unsharp, I can do all sorts of things. This of course goes for anything, not just sharpness, colour, everything that concerns the photograph I'm in control of. So if you want the perfect picture, the perfect that looks great, the picture that looks great, use RAW. The other reason is, I can't remember how many, but in the video you'll see if you look at it, there's an enormous amount of colours available on the RAW that have been thrown away on the JPEG. Just think about that. So let's have a look on the camera how we set the RAW. Well, on my camera, the Canon 7D, this particular camera, all I have to do is hit menu. I'll move it a little closer to the screen. If I hit menu, we see quality up there. Now if I press quality, this gives me a choice of whether I shoot RAW and JPEG, whether I have JPEG in large, small, RAW again, large or small. Now I see no reason in this day and age where memory is cheap, we get big cards, I see no reason why we have to shoot low quality. It's not a question of how many I can get on the card, it's a question of if you get that shot, that's what's important. Then you need to be able to enlarge it to a reasonable size. And it could make you money, so why take the risk? Any of us are capable of having an accident and get a great shot. Right, now the only other thing I want to tell you about, and this is very important, is not to keep your photographs on the card. Now I can tell you why, very simply, because you don't want to fill up the card. It's also because, why? Get them on the computer. Get them off that card. You lose the card goes down on the computer. You should be doing a backup regularly or have Time Machine or whatever working regularly, so you've got your backup of those images. I never understand why people with telephones keep all those pictures on a telephone. Get them up on the cloud or on the computer, whatever you like. So I think that's quite a lot of good advice. Go out when you're taking pictures and try and take your time. But we'll have a look at that in the next lesson, which will follow very quickly. Or maybe we'll work on it. It rather depends whether it's going to be raining, because I don't want to be out there in the rain. The next might be about aperture, exposure, ISO, all those weird things. So anyway, be back with you soon. Cheers.